Okay, welcome to UKGK TV. My name is Bill Voice.
My name is Julian Ryan.
And I'm Dave Nicholson. How you doing, guys? Welcome to 2025. Wow. How did we get 2025?
By getting through 2024.
Yeah. Can I ask you both a question before we go any further? When you was lads, not so long ago, guys, what did you think 2025 was going to be like? What did you expect 2025? Because, what do you think? When you was a young lad growing up, what did you expect 2025?
I expected it to be like a post-Holocaust future because I was born in the 1960s and lived my life in the 70s, and I went through that Thatcher-Reagan nuclear weapon threat. So I thought we were going to be living like, like sand people in a nuclear desert.
Did you?
Well, I used to think it was going to be like Space 1999 and then some.
I used to think they would all be driving around flying around in
flying around in hovercars.
And all we've got now, lads, is 92 different genders. It's weird, isn't it?
Roles. Who needs roles?
But the thing was, if you think about these new completely electric vehicles, they're not that far off because they sound like a hovercar, don't they? When they creep up on you when you're trying to cross the road and you don't hear it.
When you think about it, years ago, we used to go everywhere on horses. Not me personally. No. When there was very few cars. Yeah. The difference between horses and cars is remarkable. It's not that long ago, but now we're going to be going in lanes where cars can drive themselves shortly, aren't we?
Oh yeah, of course we are. Yeah. And it's not that long ago that I remember being very young and being at my nan's in Birmingham, and the milkman still had a horse on the cart.
Ernie,
he still brought it.
Ernie,
the fastest car in the West. If you remember Ernie, you're about our age. I did turn. I flicking through the channels the other day. Benny Hill, Best of Benny Hill came on.
Long, isn't it? Somebody asked me to do that. I've done that, Robbo, for you. There you go.
And I had to turn it over because even my unwokeness would not stand it.
Why was it that bad?
It was just not good. It was. I didn't find it offensive. I just found
it.
This what? So
that just took off.
I think what you have to do with comedians like that is you have to know it's a bit like watching Tommy Cooper. I still find Tommy Cooper funny, but if you're immersed in Tommy Cooper, the more funny he is. But if you were watching Tommy Cooper now without any background knowledge of Tommy Cooper, you just find it kind of irritating.
What about Bernard Manning, etc.? Do you find him funny?
Well, I have to say there are some funny jokes by Bernard Manning. I would laugh. I wouldn't approve, of course. I'm a teacher. I'd have to say, oh, come on. That's not really very good, is it? But Bernard Manning, I've seen him live. I saw him live in Stoke-on-Trent, and he was very funny.
He was funny.
He was funny. He was funny.
Yeah, he was.
I think he, basically though, he should have, if he'd have changed his material to go with the times a bit, he'd have still remained quite funny. But people lost respect for him eventually, which is a shame. But it's like anybody like Chubby Brown, absolutely hilarious. Jethro, absolutely hilarious. But you have to go to these places. Jim Davison was quite funny in his day. I don't particularly like. I never particularly liked his humour because he wasn't northern enough.
Do you like this? We're going off topic here, but I want to finish it. Do you like this new sort of comedy? This Jimmy Carr sort of. Ricky Gervais.
I like Gervais. I
like Gervais. I like Jimmy Carr, but you've got to have a strong stomach. I mean, I agree with both of them that any topic is suitable for humour because it's humour. And if you're going to get offended, I mean, I got a friend of mine who's Jewish. He's from Manchester. He's forever telling Jewish jokes. When I first met him, I kind of felt I was going to argue with him about the fact that he was telling like what I thought were slightly racist jokes. But he said it's all right because it's the man inside telling them from the inside, and you've got to get it. What the Jewish jokes I tell are about Jewish people I know. So they're Jewish jokes, but they're funny because it's okay for you to laugh because I'm saying it's okay for you to laugh. So I think it's a complex situation, humour, isn't it? And I think you've got to basically be kind of respectful, but within a certain. I mean, there's funny and there's just nasty, and I think you've just got to make your choice about what you think is funny.
Can you give an example of it? Like, you'll never see Love Thy Neighbour on UK Gold, right? For what we consider to be fairly obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But the Jack Smethurst character...
Well, they were taking the mickey out of him, weren't they?
Precisely. Yeah. He was the protagonist.
Yeah.
Because everybody else got on with everybody.
Yeah.
And he was the square peg in the round hole.
And
that's why it wasn't racist.
And
the next door neighbours, he gave back as much as he got.
I think what happened with that though is now looking back on it, the language that they used with it between each other is unacceptable. So we don't watch that. But the actual principle is good. It's a bit like Rising Damp.
I love Rising
Damp. I love it. What all it does is show Rigsby's ignorance.
Yeah, precisely.
And that's the point. So you can read it as that, or people who. But the trouble is, people who are less intelligent don't read it like we do. They read it as a kind of a racist sort of nod to racism being okay, which is never okay. Yeah. You know, so it's a difficult thing, humour. But
so that was 2024. Now we're on to the model kits. What have we got today, Bill? We got some.
Well, we're disappointed that the box hasn't arrived.
Yeah.
And but what we've been doing is I'm going to see Nosferatu later on, and I'll probably tell you about it next week.
What do we think of that, guys? Coming up, we both got opinions on it. I've heard he looks like a Mexican cartel boss.
Well, me and Julian have had this conversation, and we're on board with this, aren't we?
You're on board with that?
Well, finally, we've got a film where somebody's gone for Stoker's original description, pretty much. I mean, grey hair, although somewhat balding, and the moustache. I mean, I remember my daughter last week saying, "Have you seen what Bill Skarsgård looks like in the new film?" So I'm trying to avoid anything, trying to avoid it. I don't want it to spoil it. She said, "Well, he's got a pawn tash."
Looks like he should be in
and I said, I'm sure it doesn't look like that. I said, but if he's got grey hair and a grey moustache, then all I'm going to say is about time. Yeah. But then you've got all these arguments on YouTube. Yeah, but it's Count Orlok, it's Nosferatu, it's not Dracula. Yeah, but we've seen the rat teeth, we've seen the bald look, we've seen the big pointy ears. That was the Orlok look, which has been done. I mean, it was.
I can't wait for him to sing YMCA though.
I mean, they did it in the remake with Klaus Kinski. No doubt, Salem's Lot, the Barlow character was inspired by that. So I'm just glad that Eggers has thought, well, I'm going to go with the classic Dracula look a little bit.
I'm looking forward to it because I like Mark Kermode, the film reviewer, and he's reviewed it very positively, and I like what he said about it. He says there's a bit of a nod there to a bit of Hammer, and there's a bit of a nod there to the original movie, but it's very much an original in terms of the way the characters are projected. The female characters are particularly strong, which is good, because normally female characters in vampire movies are portrayed in a very weak manner, that their minds are easily controlled by the vampire. I think what we've got here in this one is a kind of a reasonable reinterpretation, and to some extent perhaps updated and maybe a little bit more sort of like feminist, which is great for me. But I'm just looking forward to somebody's
by all accounts, Lily Rose Depp's outstanding.
Yeah, she's very.
I mean, she goes through basically every emotion that you can. Can imagine in her acting. Outstanding performance.
So you're looking forward to it?
Oh, yeah.
When are you going then, Julie?
Tomorrow, planning on.
Yeah, I'm going to the Everyman in Altrincham, which is a lovely little cinema. I'm just giving it a bit of a plug. It's what we would have called years ago an art cinema. So they do have mainstream movies on it, but the screens are small. You can get something to eat. You can take your drink in with you. And one of my ex-pupils is the manager there, so I'm just giving it a plug.
Yeah. So if you see Bill there today, go up to him, say hi, and he'll give you a tenner.
But you've got to say hello, Bill from UKGKTV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he'll give you a tenner.
And I'll give you a tenner.
The fact that this is going to be going out 2 days after he's been.
It's always a safe bet, isn't it? It's always a safe bet.
So
first up is something else we were discussing, and this is...
Right, this is a good one.
This is really good. This is a Wolfman bust from the Del Toro Wolfman. Now, we were just discussing what we felt about this film. I mean, it's a lovely piece of work. This is available, isn't it?
It's available from Killer Kits. This was originally one of these sort of projects that we did before, where it was released in the States, and a good friend of mine spoke to me, and I sent him some kits, and we exchanged production rights, and I took this one because I just loved it. I thought it was a great character. What's your feelings on the film, guys? I've got some backstory to this, but go on, carry on. I'll let you
go on, Jim. What do you think about that movie? Because I mean, I'm in two minds about it.
Visually, I thought it was extremely well done. My main issue with it was where we've got prosthetics, brilliantly well done by Rick Baker, fighting against CGI.
They weren't done just by Rick Baker.
They weren't just done by Rick Baker, but it was the last film that he worked on.
Do you know who else did them?
Enlighten me.
Mike Hill.
Yeah, you mentioned that before. Yeah, you've mentioned that before.
You know who he did? He did the werewolf. He worked on the werewolf Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you see, I kind of agree with you visually. It's a beautiful movie. I felt the plot was made slightly over complex to say why this Welsh guy had a Brazilian or Mexican son. I always felt all that bit of the plot was an absolute waste of time. I felt it was a really good sort of respectful nod to the original Lon Chaney Jr.
Wolfman.
Wolfman. Yeah. And I thought it was great, but I have the same issue as you. The prosthetics were absolutely superb, but extremely expensive, obviously. And then you've got them mated up with some not great CGI, and you can really tell the difference between the two.
You know what did it for me? I thought it was great. I thought the atmosphere was good. I thought the characters played
the fight at the end with his dad.
Yeah, the kung fu werewolves just.
Yeah, they were for kind of. It was a bit like but you see, this is Del Toro. This is Del Toro. It's Mexican wrestlers, isn't it? It's like Mexican wrestlers kind of acting out this sort of choreographed fight.
I loved it, and from what I've heard, they were sort of like they was toing and froing about the werewolf when it was in how the werewolf used to move. Some people said it used to. He was upright, erected, and others said he should run like a wolf. So he was kind of conflicted making it. I believe. I'm not sure.
There was a lot of conflict on the film. I mean, to be fair to Del Toro, it was a project that he expressed interest in several years before, and you can see in his performance. I mean, he reminds me of Lon Chaney Jr. The look of him. He's got those same troubled eyes. I mean, Lon Chaney Jr. underneath Jack Pierce's makeup, those eyes. It was still, the kind of the anguish and the pain that he showed.
He emoted through his eyes.
Came through the performance, and Del Toro did the same thing. I mean, the scene where he's strapped and it's the lecture. And he's and he said, kill me, and he's pleading because he knows what's going to happen, and they're all just the doctor's laughing at him, it's all in your mind, and so I thought it was great.
Apart from the kung fu bit,
yeah.
And overall, for me, it did feel when it was released, it did feel a little bit cobbled together. It was almost like a foreign film in a foreign language, which had then been dubbed, made no sense. Then some editor had got it. And then started to chop it up and put it back together to try and appeal to a more Northern European audience. And I do get that whole second language feeling about the film.
Yeah, I get that. It had its flaws.
I'm getting the vibe from Nosferatu, a similar sort of vibe.
You're right.
Okay. What have we got next then, mate?
Right, well, we've got this very delicate, slightly patched up, but I saw this and I thought this is a lovely piece of work, and it's Mike Hill, isn't it? And it's Batman.
And it's Alex Ross Batman.
Alex Ross Batman, look at that. And you can see it's a lovely piece of work. And it's unusual in the sense that it goes beyond the bust. You've got both arms and the cape. The cape looks beautifully thin, and you can see the musculature through it. Everything's done very nicely. The fingers are beautifully done, and the impressions of the uniform, which is quite difficult with Batman because you've only got a very slight relief on all the bat and stuff, haven't you? But that's lovely. This is the master, and you can see that this has a certain amount of repair on it. But this is going to still be available, isn't it? It's still available.
We've remoulded it.
We've remoulded it, and you can see there's the mark on the back where we cut it out of the mould, and you can see that's where we're aiming for. When the rubber's around it, you can't see where it is. So you bury into the rubber with a knife, and you cut the back of the mould open so you can get the original out.
That's it. But that's available now in that nice new grey resin. So that's one of Michael's classics. He's got the little fins on it. It's an older Batman. It's the Alex Ross Batman.
Yeah, you can tell it's based on Alex Ross. And what I love about Alex Ross's artwork is that he uses real people as his basis for his artwork. He's never actually done it well. No, that's not quite right. He did a nod to Christopher Reeve's likeness, but as an older Superman, didn't he?
Yeah, Kingdom Come One.
That's right, the Kingdom Come one. But the rest of his likenesses, he actually gets real people in, real models. Exactly.
I like what I like about Alex Ross as well is it's still very traditional in terms of how he produces a panel. Yeah. There's a lot of, you can see a lot of more youthful artists draw directly into the computer now.
Yes.
And it does feel a bit smooth, doesn't it? A bit manga, whereas he's still got a lot of character in his drawings.
Yeah, I like it. One of my faves.
Yeah. So we've got 2 now from Paul Fay. And I'm going to have to be careful with both of these because this is a master as well, and this is one of the films we were talking about. We were talking earlier about reimagining Nosferatu, but this is obviously from the Lost Boys again, and we see the Lost Boys quite a lot in terms of their popularity
in the
garage kit. But this is Paul Fay's, and you can see
it's an old one now, but
it's an old one, but it's a good one, isn't it?
Oldie, yeah. I mean, Paul's. There's the noodles in the back there. There's the seashells for the beach and popcorn, etc.
I love the raggedness of this jacket. This frill.
Yeah,
I was going to say, I can see already on the master that they've had to be repaired.
Yeah.
So we've got a lovely piece of work there. But Paul's very, I don't know,
stylised. He's got his own style.
He's got his own style, but there's always an intensity. And I remember looking at the Skeksis the other year, a couple of years back when we did.
Yeah.
And he brought Skeksis to UKGK, didn't he? Yeah. And people were looking at it, and the amount of detail on it, considering the size of it, it's amazing.
You can tell Paul's sculptures are mile, can't you?
Yeah, well, they're so detailed, and there's the way he creates the flesh is, I don't know. He seems to get the movement in the flesh.
A nice 80s haircut there.
Yeah,
as well,
the mullet. It briefly made a return. The mullet.
Those noodles are mental.
They're great. It's very hard to see, but it's the noodles turning. A little fry packet. But the noodles, it's when the noodles turn into maggots.
When Paul did this one for me, he had a phase where he was putting food on everything he did. So if you get any of Paul's earlier stuff,
he's got some food.
There'll be some food on it. Only because we used to meet at the Little Thief in Altrincham.
Oh right, on the way into Altrincham.
Right, the one on the way to. The state airport, a little.
Oh, that one. I used to go to the Knutsford one. Is that the Knutsford one? Yeah.
Little Thief.
The Knutsford Little Thief. For those of you who don't know what the Little Thief is, it's the little chef. But we used to call it Little Thief because prices were high.
Yeah.
The good thing was consistent though. I remember buying mushrooms.
Consistently bad, wasn't it?
I remember buying mushrooms in a little pot next to my breakfast and counting them, and there was something like 32. And the next time I went back, I ordered mushrooms, and there was 32. Oh, yeah. And the way after that was 32. So the portion control was perfect.
Why would you count it?
Because I used to teach food technology. So I'm interested in that sort of stuff. And they always had proper. They had branded sauces on the table, mate. Branded sauce.
School day, little chef used to do 32 mushrooms.
Sir, what are we doing today?
Mushrooms.
Counting mushrooms.
Now this.
Right, this one's going to take a bit getting them. So this is last week, guys. We were talking about kits that I get constantly asked for, and this is one of them. And we are going to make an effort to get this one available now. This is the Paul Fay Leatherface, and it's massive.
It's massive. Huge. Look at the size of that. Now the base itself is a piece of art. He goes like that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Let me just see if I dig about in here. Look at this. Look at that.
Can I just have a look at that? Yeah.
Oh, look at this.
I think that's the one. The barrel there.
Oh, look at the crate.
So he's got a victim in there, and I might be wrong, and Paul will correct me on this, but I believe that's his ex-girlfriend. Like this, I'm not sure. There's a reason she's his ex-girlfriend. I don't know. I believe it. I think he
now
said
there's the face.
How good is that?
How good is that? Now Paul works from photographs, doesn't he? And he probably did this based on a dozen photographs from the movie. But
you like Leatherface, do you, Julian?
Oh yeah.
I tell you what, that's a proper model kit, that isn't it?
It's a big one, isn't it?
Look at the size of it.
How big would you say that is?
Wow. Well, it's got to be what? What would you say? 15 inches, 16 inches tall?
It's
a fair foot and a bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a fair
the concept
foot
of
and a
that
bit.
was I spoke to Paul and asked him I said to him, this is what I want.
What, 1/5 maybe?
And he wanted to get it right so much because it's one of his favourite characters. And he sent me a picture of the sculpture, and I went, Paul, and I don't very often do this. I said, no, it's not, I'm not feeling the love. And this is how good his bloke was. He got in his car and came to the unit with it, and we reposed the figure to get exactly what I wanted. And that just
rotting head inside the crate.
That goes on the base.
What a nice touch.
So
I tell you what, mate, that's a bit of a stunner, isn't it?
So the concept of it is he's holding that on the base there.
Yeah.
So he's holding the barrel, and he's got that leg goes on the base. Just anywhere.
Anywhere on the base, just any old leg.
It's pretty disturbing, isn't it? Really, it's really well conceived. This one, I
tell you what, I don't think I've ever seen this before.
Not seen it?
No, I've not seen it made up.
Well, he's got a massive machete in this hand, and he's got the woman's head in the.
He's got his hand on there.
Just dunking it in. Yeah,
we do apologise for any.
Yeah, he's got a machete in one hand. He's dunking her head in the barrel.
Yeah. There is a certain amount of misogyny in horror, isn't there? There is a misogyny in horror, but we don't condone any of this.
Yeah, but this one, I mean, I think the likeness is just amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, if I lift up the base, with the head and the oil drum on it, you can see the whole vastness of this kit. I'm just being very careful with it. Look at that.
But some weight in that when you put
some weight in that. Now
we get asked for this all the time.
I'm not surprised. Is that spun cast, or would you rotate that or something?
That one has been, but I will solid cast it in the mid going forward. We do get asked all the time for this, guys, and this is on the list to remold. Hence why Bill's reviewing it today, because it's just been sort of, we just picked it up off the shelf to do. So we are going to do it. It is going to come.
It is certainly an oldie, but it's a goldie, isn't it? I mean, you get your money's worth in there, mate. I would say that's. Have I seen that? I don't think I've seen it. You know, it's not just because it's Paul, but I don't think I've seen a Leatherface kit that good ever. No. With Leatherface, there's an old Aurora character.
I like his cowboys.
Called Dr. Deadly. Anybody that knows about Dr. Deadly will know that there's a certain similarity between Dr. Deadly and Leatherface. Because Dr. Deadly was kind of a horror kit that it was like.
They were like square box ones, weren't they?
They were the square box Aurora kits, and you bought them all. You had a torture chambers, various bits and bobs in a torture chamber. And when I first saw this
Aurora
character,
classic series,
or a classic series, you know, monster scenes. Yeah.
Yes,
Aurora monster scenes. Now, when I first saw Leatherface, which was way too young, because I snuck into the cinema through the back door to see Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think when was it made? 73, 74?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I think it was on the Odeon in Chester about 76 or something, in like a horror compendium, and I remember sneaking in the back and seeing it and thinking that's an amazing movie. I'm surprised anybody made it. And it made a bit of a resurgence when VHS came out, didn't it? And it was kind of seen
as did many
a bit of video nasty.
Remember, the original Evil Dead was banned for a while, wasn't it?
It was. It was. But the Leatherface character was based on a guy called Ed Gein.
Yeah.
And Ed Gein was a famous serial killer and cannibal who made his bedroom furniture and stuff out of human parts.
Wow.
But people went round to his house and he'd give him a cup of tea and he'd say, "That's a nice lamp." And he'd go, "It's made of human skin." And they would laugh.
He kept his mother in another room.
In another room.
Well, Robert Bloch's inspiration
for Psycho
was
loosely based on Ed Gein. So Ed Gein, if you look him up and you want some real life horror, you can't go wrong with that, can you?
Jeffrey Dahmer took it to another level.
Dahmer, yeah.
Obviously, Ed Gein was one of his heroes.
I think Dahmer had a little bit more finesse, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The Buffalo Bill character.
Silence of the Lambs.
Again, making dresses out of skin.
Now, this is another oldie but goldie, which is going to be back in production, isn't it?
It's a very dusty one.
It's a very dusty one, and as you can tell now, if you've been watching us for a long time, you can spot the age of the original by the colour of the resin.
Yeah,
and here we have this nice, bright, yellow Aurora-style plastic resin. Look at that. And this is the villain from the original Highlander movie. It's Kurgan. And I'm not sure about the Highlander 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
The first one.
The first one.
The first, just a classic.
Yeah, and this is him in his sort of traditional. Now, is Kurgan one of the original aliens?
There can only be one, can't they?
There's only ever one.
There
can be only one. But it's a lovely kit, this. It's got bits of cape and everything on there, you can see. Now, I wouldn't fancy doing that, would you? If I was building this.
That's the original. That's how. Right, guys, let me show you this. This is how kits
used to be.
So
you'd get this kit, you'd be dead excited, and then you'd spend the rest of your life trying to get those two pieces to mate
Which
up.
you never ever could.
Which you never ever could. And it'd always be a seam. Doesn't matter how much rubbing down you do.
Hopefully, when we look at...
We're going to redevelop that.
Yeah, when we look at redoing this, we'll have a look and see if we can get it a little bit better, guys.
But if you look at the detail on
Superb.
What I like about this kit, it looks like... My dad used to make
Look at that. I think it's Howling.
My dad used to make Napoleonic soldiers. You know, Napoleonic war soldiers.
Yeah.
That was his thing, and the detail on that is like the detail that you would find on a quite serious kind of military kit, sort of like a Hysterex.
Fifth Sense, Fifth Sense.
Fifth Sense.
Yeah. I'd like to see a Connery Ramirez one.
There was one.
Was there one?
Monsters in Motion, yeah.
I'm sure this was Alan. Alan Ianson did this. I could be wrong.
Right.
It could be. I mean,
It's a lovely piece of work.
You're immortal, McLeod. You cannot die.
Yeah. I mean, Sean Connery was great in that.
Look at the base.
Yeah.
I mean, this resin.
It's tough stuff. That.
It's just a bit of UK.
Yeah. You've got to be here to. We're resin sniffers.
Can I have a go?
You have a sniff.
And here we go, guys. This is when you buy a kit off us now.
Oh yeah.
When I buy a kit off us now, I get complaints about certain bits and pieces. One guy said, "Oh, there's a little bit of flash in the hole."
There you go.
There you go.
So you had to make up your mind which bit you were going to cut off as well, didn't you?
So
modern resin production is
that won't
like
be on it.
No.
But I'm just going to show you. I'm sure you. Is that a big air hole there?
There's a big air pocket there as well. There's an air bubble.
That was acceptable.
Yeah.
So if you look at that, guys, there was a big. I'm not calling anybody out on this. There's a big air trap there and a big sprue there. That was in the day. That was acceptable. I'd get that, and I would think, that's fantastic.
You'd be all right with that kit, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I can't send that out.
Whereas flashing your hole's totally unacceptable now, isn't it?
That's true.
Flashing your hole.
You got it.
Apparently, it's illegal.
It's illegal. Yep. So, but there you go. So a bit of history there. So I think things have come on, haven't they? In terms of the quality of the production now, things have come on.
Look.
Oh, look, there's a fingertip missing there.
See, yes, we're not calling the guys out.
No,
but this is the difference now, guys.
But the casting technology back then, that might have just been.
Well,
I mean, a lot of this was just pressure. It wasn't pressure cast, was it? It was just gravity cast, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we mentioned. Wow.
That's age, that isn't it? That's age.
Yeah.
We mentioned Manchester Models when I bought the con kit from there back in about 94, 95.
Was it the Mike Hill one?
Mike Hill one, yeah, the Death Struggle one.
Great piece.
Yeah. It was a great piece, but mine was like an aero bar.
That was half the fun, wasn't it?
Half the fun was getting a bit of milliput, like in your thumb.
Oh yeah.
And just shoving it in.
Yeah.
Then re-engraving the detail over with a rustling tool.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Now this is a film that I've only seen once, and this is a film called Wishmaster. Now, what would you say Wishmaster came out? Was it late 80s, early 90s?
Yeah, it was in 80s, wasn't it? Mid 80s.
Yeah.
You can tell by the fashions, I think it's about 85, 86.
But this is rather nice, and it's almost... The resin's got a very kind of porcelain feel to it, hasn't
cold
it?
cast porcelain.
It's cold cast, and yeah. But look at the surface detail on the chest. The sort of what would you call it? Like a scar-based tattoo, wouldn't you? It's scarring on the actual Wishmaster demon.
This is a sculpture done by a guy that does a lot of miniature stuff. It's a guy, a friend of mine, who's a red. How are you doing, lad? And his name is Sean Green. Sean sculpted this for Budgie Kits. I've spoken to man at Budgie Kits, and he has now given me permission to move forward and produce this if I want. So I acquired a copy of it, a cold cast copy of it, as to use as a master. So hopefully going forward we should be doing this one. But the interesting fact about this one is, if you look at it, during the old film, Sean didn't have any details for the feet, and apparently in the film this gentleman wore slippers, I believe. So they had to smudge the feet to get the feet right. I think that's right, but he couldn't get any detail for the feet. Now, so
well, he spends a lot of the film as the actual body of the person that he takes over, doesn't he? The actor takes him over. Yeah. I mean, you only really see. I mean, in the first one, you only really see that at the beginning when it goes back to, because obviously it's based on the djinn, isn't it? It's based on the djinn, well, the djinn, but it's a silent D, so it's the djinn,
which then became the genie.
Yeah, the genie. Arabian mythical tales, but he'll grant you 3 wishes, but in return he wants your soul.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it, with wishes in films? There's all. It's like the monkey's paw. Do you remember that old-fashioned tale called the monkey's paw?
Which they used in the Tales from the Crypt one.
Tales from the Crypt,
Monkey's claw, wasn't it? Monkey's claw, wasn't it? Or was it paw?
It was monkey's paw. It's when they get 3 wishes, and she wishes for some money, and her son gets killed, and she gets insurance. And then they wish him back to life, and then you never.
It's her husband, isn't it?
In the Tales from the Crypt, what's his name?
But he's been embalmed,
and he's struggling in the coffin, and she tries to chop him up to kill him. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Major cluster. Epic.
On
those 3 wishes.
Bad wishes. Always be careful.
Like that thing with Brendan, what's the name in? What was it with? Similar sort of film, wasn't it? Based similar sort of plot. What was that one with? It was awful. One with Liz Early and that the guy that played George in the Jungle. Remember?
Bedazzled. Bedazzled. It was a remake of a Dudley Moore movie from the 1970s.
Well, he had wishes, didn't he? And all that.
Wishes. But they always go wrong.
Yeah.
But there's a famous phrase, isn't there? Be careful what you wish for. You might just get it.
I tell you what I like about this is with Sean's stuff is when you actually look at it, his finishing on this one is fantastic.
Oh, it is. It's polished, isn't it?
It looks really polished. Yeah, I mean, you look at the smooth, the muscles and stuff, and the face, and even these. It's just really nicely finished.
I would find that quite difficult to paint, though.
Why?
I don't know, because number one, I'm not that good at painting. I find it difficult to paint just full stop. But this is one of the kits I would imagine a real master would make look absolutely superb. And I think the grey resin, the surface of the grey resin, I think would be easier to paint than this. The cold cast was always kind of very porcelain one. It was very slippery, and I think you can hear it, can't you? Yeah, you can hear the solidity to it. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, for me, that would be hard for me to paint because you'd have to really paint it because there's a lot of detail in there. But I would just, I mean, doing those scars and stuff on the chest and things like that.
Nice piece.
It's a lovely piece, isn't it? It's without a doubt. Definitely a bit of a classic.
Well, hopefully we'll get that from the rubber in this next year.
Now this next one goes quite far back.
This is another 5th Sense one. I think this what you've got there. If you look at it very carefully, you've actually got a piece of garage
head in there.
What head is it? Show me the head. You've actually
got Lee's head in it.
That's off the one with the holding the cloak at the side.
You've actually got a bit of garage kit history there because that is the original. Let's see if you notice.
Now this is like Carter's. This is like discovering Tutankhamun. This because this is so old.
You're talking to me.
You're talking to me. I love this.
5th Sense.
Look at that.
Now Killer Kits.
Taxi driver.
But if you look at what the material is actually the original sculpture.
It is,
so that is Sculpey there. Show Bill.
Sculpey, it's Sculpey, isn't it?
So
you can see there's Sculpey and Milliput.
So when we get the sculptures, guys, we get them like that, and sometimes they survive.
I was going to say, I'm surprised it has survived, hasn't it? That is.
That's the original master, the original taxi driver mastered off 5th Sense.
So you can see that he sculpted the hand and gun separately, sculpted the arm, and then baked them, fired them, then stuck them together with some milliput in there.
So that's the original sculpture, the original sculpting master. So I can't be recasting it, guys. I must have permission to do it. I've got the original master. Wow. So that is a little bit of garage kit history there. I've also got some other stuff as well.
Is that you're going to put that back into production?
That's in production already. That's in production already. He's got the 2 guns. It's superb. I mean, I like it. I mean, that was before De
Got a bass
Niro.
as well.
Yeah, before De Niro went a little bit weird on us, didn't he?
Did comedy.
Yeah, he went a little bit weird. So, is there another arm in now? Is it just the one arm?
I think it might be. This is full of those little lamb's tails things, you know.
Yeah, the end of his boot as well.
The end of his boot's missing as well.
If you show him that, if you show people that, if you look, that's normally what the damage you get when. So that is the
sometimes you get that going through the post.
Yeah, that is the original sculpture. I've got a few other sculptures of Fish Sense that Stevie sent me when I acquired his stuff, and that is the original master. So if we
you can see the Sculpey coming through the undercoat there.
Yeah, so he's obviously just primed it to make sure the details are as good as he wants them, and
look at the likeness.
That's it. Yeah. So that gives you a bit of an insight into what we're up to. Julian's fetched us something interesting in today. What have you been painting, mate?
Well, yeah, I didn't get out much over Christmas. I intended to visit Dave in December, but it didn't happen. The old back in hip trouble. So I kept myself busy with one of the three, the Holy Trinity. So I bought these off Dave before Christmas, and I've just been working on Quint. He's not finished yet. I want to try and weather his shirt a little bit more. See, one of the things that I thought about, particularly with that cap, you can tell he's had that cap a long time. I mean, the way you've got the bend in the peak, so the amount of times he's taken it off, put it on, taken it off, put it on. And I'm imagining, if you think about all the fish and shark gutting he's done over the years, he's probably had blood on his fingers when he took his cap off to wipe his brow. So I intend to do a little bit of staining around here, you know, like dried blood, and just make the cap look a lot more weathered. Because it's got some marvellous detail. That went into sculptor
Andy
of course,
Copeland,
Andy, because Andy did the three. Yeah, obviously we know Andy's a big Jaws fan, so it's not finished yet. There's still quite a lot I want to do in it. The can I've only just painted white. I took some. I had a look at some pictures on Google of what actual brand of beer it was, so I got those pictures to be able to paint it.
Was it Budweiser or Schlitz?
No. I'll have to go look on my phone in a minute, but I did take some pictures to paint.
Looks good, mate.
To paint it, but yeah, I'm quite happy with it. Yeah, it's coming on all right, that one.
Nice. While we're on, guys, we were talking about original masters. Wow. This is very, very fragile.
Oh wow!
This is a very fragile Sculpey master that I acquired with the job lot, and this one is the Howling. This is an original Mike Hill Howling, and that's Mike's some of Mike's finest. So that's the original master. And if you look at the hands and the claws, they're all damaged. So in order for me to get that back into production, I've got to repair it,
that's a labour of love.
The ears, etc., and get the arms. I've got another arm for it, but that was with Stevie's stuff. So there's the original master that was sold to me.
So that's a Mike Hill, and it's an original. When would you have sculpted that? I mean, how long ago are we talking?
Gone a long time.
Because did you say that was from the Howling?
Yeah.
Right. So the Howling was what, mid 80s?
Yeah.
Well, it would have been what, between about 86 and 96
when he
sculpted it. Yeah.
So it's incredible, isn't it? How long these guys have been going now.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to know something that means an awful lot, here we go, guys.
Yeah. Still got this.
If you do watch these, Mike, this will fetch back a bit of history for you. Have a look at that. That's Mike Hill's original head.
The original head.
The original Sculpey head that he sent to Stevie Chan or wherever it was. And there's the first cast, his original cast. I haven't touched that. I just kept that for keepsake. That's his first cast out of the mould of his original Wolfman, where he's jumping with Lawrence Talbot.
Well,
so
it's a
they
tribute
must be
one,
20 years old. Must be. That's Sculpey. Look at that. Look at the detail. I mean, how big is that? That's no bigger than.
And the rest.
I can't even see that. I can't see that.
1994. I was in Manchester Models, and I bought that. I've still got it.
That's the original Sculpey.
I bought it off Des. back in '94 from Manchester Models. I've still got it. I never finished it.
I can't look at that. It's such a good likeness for such a small piece.
That's the
absolutely fantastic.
At some point,
likeness.
Mike in Warrington or Blackpool, wherever he was, actually sculpted that, and that has come to me.
I never finished it, and the issue was that the fingers were so delicate. I bust the fingers off the hand.
Trying to file them in or something. Yeah.
So if you can cast me, that would be fun. Yes. They can't break off.
As you can see, as you can look at that,
just break off.
You can see that they're broken off, but wow, you see, it's a. I mean, how are those fingers cast now? Would they be pressure?
Pressure cast.
You'd have to pressure cast that now to get those fingers that small in the mould, because otherwise you just get air shuts, wouldn't you?
They are the first casts, I believe.
They're the first,
and that is the original head of the Wolfman. I don't think I've got a master for the actual chainy piece and the base, but they're workable. I can use them. But the chainy's not as delicate as that. But to me, that's just
solid.
I mean, it's lovely, because I don't know about you, I genuinely love garage kits. And when I actually looked at that, I thought, how's he done that? How's Mike done that? I mean, that is just
on that scale as well.
Yeah,
it's relatively small. To be, it's the best one. Certainly for it being such a small scale, the detail is just tremendous.
Mike, if you're watching this, kudos.
This, to me, what I love about this is about the same scale as Aurora monsters.
Yeah.
You know, the Frankenstein.
He's done a Frankenstein as well, in the same scale, and it looks amazing.
For me, this is kind of my favourite size for a kit.
What? Is it?
Yeah, I do, because it reminds me so much of model making when I was a kid, putting together the Aurora Wolfman. It's Aurora scale, isn't it? Yeah. And I know there's a bit of variation in the Aurora scale, isn't there? Depending on a kit. So like the Quasimodo kit was slightly different outscale to the rest, wasn't it? Because there was more to the kit. But when you see something like that, it's about the right scale for me.
Yeah.
And that, I think, when I look at that, it's like you can see how people achieve that when you did injection moulding, but to achieve that using resin, that's a bit of a triumph as far as I'm concerned. It's just a basic technology of it. I mean, you've got to say, for people who used to produce these kits actually in their garage,
that what you're looking at was cast way before I even knew how to cast. I mean, the cut line he's put in it is just phenomenal.
Yeah,
it's just, I mean, so I'm guessing that you'd have a cut up the side there. Yeah, you can see it now, but that is just.
When I do little things like that, I tend to put like a little air chamber ahead of it. You know, like a little tiny button slot. So if there is any air, the air goes into the wastage rather than into the actual thing itself. Yeah.
I mean, I think what he's done, I think that is pressured, because that's a reservoir. So to make life easier, he'll fill the reservoir up, pressure it, and then it'll just push it into the reservoir. Because I just think it's great. I mean, that's just a nice piece. I mean, that's just, hopefully.
We're just three old blokes talking about rubbish, aren't we?
Okay.
Because we talk about it all day.
Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. We've given you a little bit of insight into everything. We collared Julian today because he needed to get out the house. Christmas has got on top of us, and New Year
defeated us all, hasn't it?
It's beat us all. We just needed all three of us to get out, if it was just for an hour, just to get out to get out. We're back to normal next week.
Sorry?
I'm not
normal. Jesus.
That's the last thing I want to be, mate. That's the last thing I want to be. I had a choice today. I could either go and watch a movie about vampires or go to my relatives.
Well, you know you just...
no competition.
No-brainer, that, isn't it?
It's no brainer.
Nosferatu, obviously.
Nosferatu?
Are you mad?
You'll have to let us know what it's like.
Guess what? Here's a positive take on Nosferatu. Yes, Ferratu.
Somebody, do you know somebody's done that? I saw it on Facebook this morning. It's somebody's re-edited Max Shrek with a big beaming smile.
Yes, Ferratu.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, like I said, guys, it's good to be back. Going forward, guys, the 27th. Keep yourself to 27th. We are going to be doing UKGK at the same venue, same time. These gentlemen will be there. My eyes are on the mend. I've got my second up in about a week or two, so I've got 2 weeks to get some stuff out the door, and then I've got a couple of weeks where I've got a rest on again. But we are now starting to move forward in January. I'm going to be talking to Bill and these two and ask them if they'll contribute to the magazine in some way. I don't know what their writing skills are like, but I'm going to try and tap into the knowledge and try and get some
big capicles.
Big capicles.
Written with a crayon.
Capicles, yeah.
Crayola.
We're going to get some of them out, crayons. You think that's bad?
Piece of slate.
So hopefully we'll get the magazine back up and running, because loads of people ask for a magazine. I know it's the age of digital, but everybody seems to be asking.
Can't be a piece of paper.
Well, everybody's asking me, Bill. It's
weird.
It's weird.
Somebody once said, I said to him, well, somebody said one day books will disappear. And my mate of mine said, there's nothing better at being a shark than a shark.
Yeah.
Nothing better at being a book than a book. You can drop it in a swimming pool, it doesn't cost you anything.
Can't beat it. Don't know about Gladiator. Have you seen Gladiator 2?
Still hasn't recovered, have you?
No.
Sharks.
Yeah, I've heard.
Shaved baboons.
They haven't got frickin' laser beams on there.
They may as well have.
I want sharks with frickin' laser beams.
I saw a clip of something earlier on called Land Shark, which is like Sharknado. It's Land Shark. I'm gonna
have you ever watched one shark film all the way through? Thank you.
Have you? I tell you what, just before we go, have you watched The Rig yet? I thought that was okay.
I'm 2 episodes in, and I think I'm 2 episodes in, and I'm interested.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a psychological thing.
Do you like it?
I like it.
I thought it was okay. I thought that was okay.
Go for it.
Go for it. Pleasantly surprised.
It's better than a recent one called The Swarm. And it's basically about an undersea alien presence. It's called The Swarm. I think it's on Sky Atlantic.
Yeah, The Rig. I thought it was good.
You'll never get that time back.
I thought it was
You'll
good.
never get that time back.
And you gradually get into it. I thought it was
it's
good.
It's a slow burn, It's a psychological
It's starting to crack up, aren't you?
Yeah, but there's a series 2, did you know?
Yeah, it's just come out.
Right, okay.
Anyway, on that note, guys, have a good new year. We hope you're all all well and safe. The weather's coming down here now, so we're going to have a quick brew and then shoot off before we get snowed in. You can't handle the snow, can we?
British, not good at snow.
No. I hope you're all well. I'm glad to see Steve getting better. Glad to see Steve Smith painting well, and Steve Giles. Big shout out to you guys. Anyone that watches the video, look forward to doing one. We'll see you next year. Next week.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye-bye. Cheers.